Who here wants to have greater peace of mind, more relaxation? Anybody here? Awesome. Does anyone here want to feel like they're achieving more of their long sought after goals in their life? Great. Does anyone here want to wake up every morning feeling more self-empowered in their lives? Great. I'm happy to let you know you've all come to the right place. I'd like to start first with a visualization. I invite you all to please close your eyes and recall the sights and sounds and smells of the very best day in your life. The day where everything seemed to go right, everything was in sync. And recall who you were with, where you were, what you were doing, how you were feeling on that best day. Really, really feel it and get in touch with it. Could have been your wedding, graduation, birth of a child, something like that. I'd like you all now to please open your eyes. Please call out, what were you guys feeling on that best day in your life?
Joy.
Joy? Okay. Anyone else?
Peace.
Peace? Good.
Relief.
Relief? Awesome. Happiness? These are all good. I think safe to say we all share, or many of us share, these feelings on the best day of our lives. It's what binds us together and keeps us understanding each other. Without looking at the visual, what do all of these feelings have in common? It's the fact that they all emanate from the higher brain, or that part of the brain which is the essence of who we are. It is our passion. It is what we strive to achieve in our lives. It is feeling greater peace of mind, being ever present, and working every day towards achieving our goals, even if we have some challenges in the way. It's the ability to literally step outside your comfort zone to help your dreams become a reality. A lot of people are too scared to do things differently, and they look at challenges as something they'd rather avoid rather than something that they can thrive on and really sink their teeth into. Again, I'd like you all to close your eyes, please. And recall the sights and sounds and smells of a day that you were really struggling in your life. Nothing seemed to go right. It's as though you were in a car and you're spinning your wheels in mud and going nowhere, no forward momentum. What were those feelings that you were having on that day, really feeling them?
Fear.
And you can now open your eyes.
So, I was just really excited.
So, anyone? Feelings on that day? On that day you really struggled?
Frustration. Anger.
Anger? Anyone else?
Despair.
Huh?
Despair.
Despair?
Yeah.
Good one. So, where do these all emanate from? They all emanate from
Fear.
the fight or flight part of the brain or the lower brain. I like to refer to it as the fight or flight part of the brain, or the emotionally reactive part of the brain. That part of the brain which in our ancestors was tasked with helping our ancestors to avoid any imminent danger, like getting eaten by a tiger, something like that. In this day and age, in our very complicated society now, we have such a complicated society, and this part of our brain wants us to avoid anything the least bit uncomfortable. Anything the least bit uncomfortable for us. And so do you think if we have this defensive posture with this mindset that we're going to be working towards achievable of our goals and feeling fulfilled in our lives? highly unlikely, because we are just pushing away anything that's uncomfortable, even if doing that uncomfortable thing is going to help us grow and help us achieve in our lives. That's something to think about. So, the fight or flight part of the brain is designed to keep us safe. Does anyone know how this part of the brain helps us to keep us safe? Sameness. And whether you guys realize it or not, or whether anyone else realizes it or not, they are in this mindset. The same non-beneficial thought patterns, the same behaviors without even possibly realizing it, doing the same things over and over again. Because if you're doing the same thing over and over again, it's predictable, right? It's predictable, and it's a way to avoid anything the least bit uncomfortable. So this is the function for the fight or flight part of the brain. In our society today, we live in such a complicated society. Does anyone feel like they have so many passwords and IDs they can't remember all of them? Does anyone feel like they're doing the work of two people at their jobs? Did anyone here win the lottery yet? So, yes. And if this stress is allowed to accumulate over time, the fight or flight part of the brain kind of kicks it up a notch. And the fight or flight part of the brain kind of gets all the energy and all the attention and blood and circulation, and deprives the prefrontal cortex or the higher brain of all of this. So when that happens, the person can develop, if they don't have an effective way to deal with their stress, or to solve their problems, or to release their tension, then I, also being a physical therapist, know, for 18 years I've known this, that stress is stored in the fascia, in the muscles and in the internal organs of our bodies. And when it does that, it deprives energy flowing to where it needs to go in order for us to be the best of who we are, to feel more fulfilled in our lives. And that's what happens. And if allowed to progress further, if there's no effective way to deal with a challenge, or if the person's in a constant fight or flight, then what happens is the person will develop all sorts of physical manifestations. What do you guys experience when you're under a stressful situation, a chronic stressful situation? What do you feel?
Headache.
Headache? Good.
Stiff neck. Tension.
Stiff neck? Tension?
Tension.
All of these things. They're all a manifestation of our thinking process that we are uncomfortable and we want to avoid. And muscles tense up, or the internal organs tense up. If allowed to progress further, then we have, and this is just, I'm stepping ahead here for a moment. If we have these things, then all sorts of physical illnesses can occur over time. And then if that's allowed to progress in time, the person can develop self-destructive thoughts, self-destructive behaviors, and less than beneficial results. Right? So this is what the fight or flight part of the brain is designed to do. And I mentioned to you why we have these days in this society. It's very complicated. But before I go into the lower brain or the fight or flight part of the brain any further, I'd like to talk to you personally about my own experiences. Being a client of the program, being a client of the higher brain program, and also a facilitator or coach of the program. My history comes from a history of, for the better part of my adult life, dealing with anxiety. All right? And I've tried a lot of different things. So I think I know what I'm talking about on this, at least for myself and my vantage point, is that the higher brain living program is the most effective solution for me to help me feel more fulfilled in my life, feeling more ever present, living in the moment, and being able to exhale and relax. And one of the important hallmarks of the higher brain living program is insight and perspective. It fosters insight and perspective. And when it does this, the person is in their highest state of being. That's when they're really able to achieve and accomplish. When, with the higher brain living program, stress is dumped. Stress is dumped, tension is let go, the person is allowed to breathe and relax And then insight and perspective tend to seep in. And when someone is operating from the mindset of having insight, greater insight and perspective, quantum things happen, beautiful quantum things happen. The person is able to see things as with the glass half full. The person is able to achieve. For myself, I lost a lot of my tension and stress. I was able to let go of relationships that were not serving me, not effective for me, and seeking out people that were like-minded like myself, wanting to feel fulfilled in my life and wanting to achieve my goals. And I am achieving my goals with this program. In fact, some of my friends would think I would not be even standing up here today talking in front of you to be able to do this. That's how powerful the program is. And that's how passionate I feel about the program. It's helped me so much. And I'll tell you one other little story as well. I'm a physical therapist. I've been a physical therapist for 18 years, and I had been laid off because my office was slow, almost a year and a half ago, during the time when I was going through the Higher Brain Living program. And the Josh of old would have been very nervous and anxious, and would have been frozen and not taking action. And that didn't happen in this particular situation. What happened for me was I was just calm and at peace, totally calm and at peace, and knowing that continuing to physical therapy and doing higher brain living were the things that would help me feel fulfilled. Because I am a healer. By nature, I'm a healer. Okay? So when I was in this mindset, I quickly set to the task of looking for another job. I knew what I wanted. I knew the type of people I wanted to work with. I knew the type of boss I wanted to have. It was all crystal clear in my mind. And not much in the way of anxiety, just doing and getting the job done. And I went on 7 job interviews. Guess what? I got all 7 job offers. No accident. No accident. So this speaks volumes to how powerful the program is. It's very, very powerful. Again, I love the skydive. This is, I've gone 3 times. This is not me in the picture, though. The Higher Brain Living program is designed as a self-empowerment program. It's designed to bring out the very best in each and every one of us. And you've all taken the very first step by coming not only to the Awaken Fair to help improve your lives and help feel more fulfilled in your lives, but also taking the extra added step of coming here. I mean, the last time I checked, Higher Brain Living is not a household name yet. Not yet. So I'm very happy you came out here today. And I think all of you being here speaks volumes to how you value yourselves. And I think that's great, that you're willing to invest in yourselves. And so the Higher Brain Living program, going into more detail now, is I, as a facilitator, make light touch contact points in meridians in the body. Some of you may be familiar with meridians, in different positions for the client. And what that does, that I alluded to it before, that releases tension in the body. Once that tension is released in the body, then, has anyone here taken an exam and they felt like they aced the exam? What happens literally the moment after you put the pen down? You breathe out, you exhale, exactly. That's what you get with the Higher Brain Living program. And it doesn't occur with everyone at once, but at some point during the treatment, the person experiences a salutogenic breath, which is a non-willed breath. It happens automatically, like that test-taking situation. And that is the higher brain saying, oh, you've released the tension in my body, I feel so much more relaxed now, I want more of that. And the brain directs the body to start making movements. And it's not willed, it's just automatic. And so I'll let you guys know, and this excites me a lot, I found out about the Higher Brain Living program here 2 years ago, almost to the day. The very first slide, I don't know if you saw it, the person who was next to me was my facilitator, my coach, Dr. Garani. And it means a lot to me because everything goes full circle for me. Now I've been a client and now I'm a facilitator. I feel so powerful with the program, and now I'm trying to change other people's lives and help them as well. So I make these light touch contact points in the body. Tension is released. Electrical energy is opened up. The pathways are opened up in the meridians of the body, and energy is flowing to the higher brain. Does anyone here have satellite TV? Anyone, single person, by a show of hands? Anyone? Okay. Satellite TV, you have to have the satellite dish facing in a certain position, do you not? I believe you have to face it towards the southwest. When you have that, guess what? You have a crystal clear picture, right? The same thing is synonymous with the higher brain living. If you're not physiologically awakened and having the blood flow circulating to the higher brain, no matter what you do, the brain is not going to, that part of the brain is not going to be able to receive what it needs physiologically, and it's certainly not going to achieve and feel fulfilled in its life. Just remembering that. 22-step process, higher brain living program helps you all achieve your long sought after goals, goals that you've had for such a long time. You've made New Year's resolutions and they've never come to fruition. Well, the higher brain was not primed to operate out of that mindset. And for any of you, like me, I was a total non-believer. When I came here to see Dr. Steve 2 years ago, I wasn't looking for higher brain living. I was coming here for vitamin supplements and to just look around and feel more general healthy. So I was looking at the images on Steve's computer and I'm saying to myself, this is bullshit. This doesn't make any sense to me. This person's moving around. This is staged. I don't believe it. Well, something made me stay. And I ventured further. And over the course of time, I decided that I was going to make an investment in myself in the Higher Brain Living Program as a client, with the option of later on exploring being a facilitator myself. And again, the program speaks for itself. It's so, I was going to say a curse word there. It's so profound. I do these techniques every morning. I practice what I teach, okay? So, anyone like me who's a non-believer at first, we have 2 quality of life studies, pre and post, before and after the person goes through the program. Patient reports, the client, I'm a physical therapist, sorry, not a patient, client. Client reports how much better they're feeling, what are they doing afterwards that they weren't doing before. This is the gold standard, EEG studies. EEG studies to show an increase in alpha and beta brainwave activity. For any of you that are familiar with physiology of the brain, alpha and beta brain waves are the highest, the quintessential brain waves to have that we are operating under when we are at our best and achieving. We can leave possibly a question at the end. Please hold your question. So it raises our game, and it's physiologically shown. And of course we have the results of the clients themselves. They report it. It's not imagined. And very importantly as well, which sets this differently than any other program out there right now. It is individually tailored to help people know what their goals are and to achieve them and work towards them. So the letting go of the tension in the body, the first part of the program, and then working with resolutions and declarations to help people tap into what their goals are. And to be okay with challenges and overcoming their fears to achieve what they really want. That's what this is all about. And so, since you've all taken the big step of coming here to the Awaken Fair today, and taken the even bigger step of coming here and having faith and trust that you're going to get something out of coming here today, I offer for a future visit, 2 visits for the cost of 1. And again, I'm grateful for all of you coming here today. I greatly appreciate it. I'll end it with this. Albert Einstein, who was the preeminent thinkers and inventors of our day, said that we are not able to solve a problem from the same level of consciousness that it took to create it. And this speaks right to the heart of Higher Brain Living Program. Albert Einstein basically was saying that we need to have insight and perspective to solve more difficult problems that we're not used to. A combination of left and right brain thinking. We're so used to linear thinking. Linear is simple left and right brain thinking. Unidimensional. Solving problems requires 3 dimensions, insight, perspective, which requires both sides of the brain to be firing in the higher brain at the same time. That's what the Higher Brain Living Program provides. That's why all of my clients are so happy with this program. And you've invested your time in coming here today, and I think any one of you are ready to take that next step to receive visits from the Higher Brain Living Program and to really help further your goals that much greater and feel more fulfilled in your lives and willing to take the challenges and really dig into those challenges and be okay with it rather than walk the other way. I'm going to have a demonstration of the techniques now with a former client and a colleague. And again, thank you all very much. I think we can probably take, how are we on time?
Okay.
I can probably take 2 questions right now. Anyone would like to ask? Did you have a question, sir?
Well, it was about the EEG.
Yes.
You're just taking those 2 bandwidths to correlate the states of consciousness?
I am not an expert in brainwave activity. All I know is that in Chicago, where we have our headquarters, we have a EEG technician. Her name is Allison Ohms, and I can ask a question like that. What was the question again, please?
Well, maybe there's a reference on your website.
I can get that information. What is your name, please?
Anton.
Anton. I can try to get that information if you'd like. I can reach out to Allison. But basically what I know about the program is it increases alpha and beta brainwave activity at different points during the treatment and subsequent to later on after the treatment's over. And that's kind of the gist of what I know about that. Does anyone have any other questions about the program? The demo? Okay. Does anyone feel intrigued by this, interested to know a little bit more and to see a little bit more? So I'm going to move this aside. I'm just going to make sure this is secured. So, Linda, before you get on the table, so just some greater understanding about the program. I make these light touch contact points in different parts of the body, and this is helping to physiologically awaken the higher brain through the body, releasing tension in the body, allowing blood to flow to the higher brain. And, okay, let's have you laying on your stomach, please, Linda. And Linda is fully awake and alert. She knows everything that's going on during the course of the treatment. And I say to my clients, basically, that I don't want you to prevent anything from happening. And I don't want you to cause anything to happen. Just let the body respond freely. And many people will experience, can I just raise this up a little bit, Linda? Many people will experience, thank you, salutogenic breath, which is essentially an unconscious breath. You'll see a change. I put my hands over here to see where she was breathing from. That will change during the course of the treatment. Thank you. And just watch where her breathing was before and see if there's any changes to it over the course of time. So the program, for any of you who are interested, was founded by Dr. Michael Cotton. He was a chiropractor, and he is also an evolutionary theorist, and he studied for 30 years about founding the effectiveness of this program. He's an immensely talented man, and I think all of us as facilitators greatly appreciate him and the work that he's done. And different people experience different things. Some people will feel an immediate relaxation. Some people will see colors, different images. Some people will get emotional. And these are all normal, and it's different things for different people. It's nothing to be frightened of. These are all part of the normal experience. And so again, by doing these contact points, I'm helping to awaken the higher brain. And Linda feels an urge to do this. It's not something that she's, oh, I'm going to do this first and I'm going to do this first. It's just something that occurs naturally for her. And with these movements in the body, again, it's like rebooting a computer. It's rebooting and just starting anew. When stress is cleared in the body, circulation, guess what? Goes up here rather than down over here. This is why people feel so good after the treatment. And I, as a facilitator, help the clients do their techniques on their own as well. So it's not only what I do in the office, but it's also what the clients do at home. That's crucially important. The more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. And I'm looking for a couple determined individuals that are very motivated to change their lives and want to work as a team with me to help them improve their lives. The program is not for the faint of heart. It's for people that are very strong-willed and really want to go after their goals and not making excuses and investing in themselves to better their lives. And when you feel fulfilled, anything is possible. Any challenge that you have in life, you thrive on it. You don't recoil from it.
So the process that Linda's feeling now is based on your touches, correct?
Yes, it is. There's something called a piezoelectric effect, which I'll go into in a moment. I want you to focus all of your attention on this spot, Linda. How are we on time?
Okay.
Lifting into this spot, Linda. And relaxing. And again, repeating. Right now I'm telling her what to do. Now this is part of the process that Dr. Michael Cotton invented. A little bit faster. These are just contact points, faster, higher. These are just contact points that Dr. Michael Cotton found to be the most effective. Let your higher brain body do as they please. That he found to be the most effective for clearing stress, dumping stress in the body. And once that stress is dumped in the body, the higher brain is like that satellite dish, facing towards the southwest, being able to get the best reception possible. Linda, I'd like you to have a seat up facing the audience, please, keeping your eyes closed. Yes. Have your heart coming out a little bit forward. Focus all of your breath and attention here. And this is helping to open up the heart chakra, which is very powerful. Help us to feel fulfilled in our lives, knowing what our goals are, helping us feel more connected. And there are specific angles and vectors and timing sequence to all of this. Focus all of your breath and attention here, Linda, on your heart chakra. Lifting into my finger. And down. And I'm applying a little bit of downward pressure to the connective tissue. And so getting back to your question about piezoelectric effect, well, I mentioned piezoelectric effect. What this does, faster and higher, what this does is this is allowing electrical energy fields to expand in the body, locally in the body. And when that happens, it allows the circulation or the capillaries to expand in the body, allowing more dilatation or opening of the blood vessels to the higher brain. Again, 2 more. Feel the power. Let your higher brain, body, and mind do as they please. And you may notice that during the course of the treatment that Linda's breath patterns have changed a bit. People, when they're in a stressful state of mind, they tend to breathe down over here. Okay? With the expansion of breath, it happens much higher up towards the head. That's the salutogenic breath. It's a non-willed, automatic process that happens through the contact points. Thank you, Linda. So, Linda is a former client of mine, and now she's a facilitator. A number of individuals wind up becoming facilitators themselves. They are so aghast at how powerful the program is. Linda, would you like to say something a little about how the program has helped you?
Or how do you feel right now after having?
A little spacey, honestly, right now, because you've interrupted the flow, which is what we need to do today. But I feel like there's energy moving throughout my body. I feel there's a lot of relaxation. I'm feeling, like I said, sort of spacey, but also focused. It's hard to describe. Excited. There's a lot of stuff going on. So to answer your question, I think the biggest thing that's changed for me is the fear factor in my life has changed. I think on the outside, people always would say how calm I looked, even though inside, there was a sort of disaster going on. There was a lot of tension, a lot of stress inside my body, and now I feel like my outside matches my inside more, and my inside matches my outside, whichever way you want to say that. I feel like I've reached so many of my goals, and I do still feel fear sometimes. I think that's healthy too, because you have to listen to yourself, but it's different. It's more like signals saying yes or no to things rather than real fear. And it doesn't stop me from trying things or moving forward. I think a lot of my daily anxiety has been reduced. And some of it I didn't even realize I had until I went through this. And I have more faith and trust in myself, and more confidence and security in myself. And I just know it's all going to be all right, no matter what I'm going through. Take a step back, look at the big picture, and move forward through it.
Insight and perspective, guys. That's insight and perspective right there.
Yeah.
That's the hallmark of the program.
Could go on for hours, but I won't. Does anyone have a question for me? I don't know if I can answer it or not, but any questions?
How long is a session?
The sessions that I do in the beginning are a little bit shorter, anywhere between 35 to 45 minutes. And Eugene, I need to stress as well that a big part of this program is not only making the contact points, but the techniques that the clients use for themselves. And the reason, in part, why Linda and I feel like the trajectory of our lives has changed so much for the better is because we introduce resolutions and declarations also into the program. I mean, there's specific light touch contact points that go with that. And there's certain ways to reduce your stress and anxiety during the day in real time with that as well. But feeling fulfilled is a big part of the program, achieving one's goals.
And it's different from affirmations, because it's a real plan, action steps along with the physical piece. So it might have sounded a little bit like affirmations, but it's different.
It's different than yoga. In other words, it's different than yoga. I'm not too familiar with it.
Affirmations like saying, when people repeat to themselves, I am such, I am such, I am such. But you're actually taking action to create the whatever it is that you're having.
There's a visualization and then there's an action step to it.
Like faith and works, right? So it would be.
I just had an observation when you were in the session of a kind of a joyful dolphin-like energy.
Yeah, it feels that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody's body is different, and everybody's, whatever you're releasing or going through is different, the changes in your body, so people move differently. So that was a nice observation, thank you.
Anton, I had a client recently who, a young man, who didn't move for like literally for the first 6 or 7 visits. And then he started to move. And when he started to move, and it was not consciously, he wasn't consciously willing himself to move, it was just happened naturally. That's when things really started to change for him. Because that's literally dumping stress in the body. And then, you know.
I have another question, I'm sorry. Just a professional question. You touch your clients, you're also a physical therapist. Are there any issues that come up about touching a client in the course of therapy?
Good question, Anton. My very same client that I just spoke to you about also had a little bit of a shoulder myofascial problem. And it's not necessarily part of the program, but in certain circumstances, I can incorporate some techniques on top of the higher brain living, some physical therapy techniques, but that's at my discretion.
I don't mean
I think I
being a
understand.
PT or not, I just mean that if you're not a PT
Can you still do the work?
and you're not certified in bodywork,
Absolutely.
are there any restrictions?
Linda and Eugene here and Lana here, they're all facilitators. Lana's a hypnotist, and Linda does Reiki, so no, you don't have to be a physical or occupational therapist. You don't have to have a physical,
technologist.
a dental technologist.
It's actually, when Josh was talking about the way that we touch the body, it's very, very light touch and we're not moving tissue. So,
No, just the fact of doing somatic work.
yeah.
There's no, when I was researching being a facilitator, there's no state in the country that says you can't do being a higher brain living facilitator. I mean, I carry malpractice insurance with me, but there's nothing formal like that. It's completely different. It's not under the jurisdiction of any Board of Education in the States.
Okay.
So I've looked into that.
Yeah.
Totally separate entity. Because the program doesn't make any specific promises, and there's no necessary physical changes, perceived physical changes to the body. It's designed as a self-empowerment program to release stress. And it's not a cure. Thank you.
Even though cures happen.
Exactly.
They can. Thank you all very much.